Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, somebody had just recently told me about, or had said a thing about Billie Jean and mentioned to me saying that I didn't have like a complete, they saying how I always am highlighting just certain parts of the song, right? And it's like, well, I've done explanations, but then there's also parts it's like, well, to really explain this stuff, like each little part, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of research. It just takes a lot, and people don't understand how pressed I am for time, how hard it is for me to, and how difficult it is for me to do these things. You know, like this stuff. I don't do really any editing. I bring up some windows. I just make a video. I shoot it one shot. You know, there's no script. I'm not reading off a script. Like people, they write scripts out. I don't do any of that stuff. It's like I just try and open up some windows, and like I'll be doing a little. I have an idea in my mind. And then I'll do like little investigations and I'll look for information, you know, to try and relate that message, the thought that I'm having in my head, and trying to get better information so I can help, you know. So like right now it's like when I'm like kind of stuttering through my words and stuttering through my thoughts and stuff, it's like a big part of that is because I've got so much stuff going on in my mind. And then like one funny little thing is like I haven't smoked weed for like 6-7 months and stuff, right? So when I smoked weed, my mind, it's like things slow down, and the mind becomes a lot clearer, and it allows me to speak better. I'm like actually a lot better when I'm high and stuff. I feel like I'm a lot better when I'm high, and when I'm not high, my mind doesn't seem to be as clear. It doesn't work as good. Like right now, and I stumble through words a little more, things like that. So there's just so much stuff going on and stuff, right? But so the line here, who will dance on the floor in the round? You know, and then she says, not that she says I am the one, because I understand the one, that he's the one, but the who will dance on the floor in the round, and later it turns to then we danced on the floor in the round, and okay, so the floor in the round. Okay, so I know that there's the round circle. I've known that and stuff, but I haven't clarified it and stuff, right? And I've known it was, but it's like it's one of those things. It's like I have the thought and stuff, but I need to clarify it to myself too. And so what it is, it's the Knights of the Round Table, the Knights of the Round Table. Okay, so that's the circle in the round. On that's the thought I've had in my head when I'm seeing this. I'm thinking about the Knights at the Round Table and stuff, right? But so I don't. I know little pieces of that story. I know pieces because it's a thing. It's like in just common folklore and American history and culture. It actually takes place in England. It's probably more prevalent over there, the story and stuff, right? But even over here, because they've done it in Disney movies and stuff like that. And so I didn't know all of the things that intertwine with that story, right? So I did a little research. It was like, okay, this is, so in my head I was like, okay, the Knights at the Round Table, that's the floor and the round. I need to do some investigation on that, right? So I looked it up, and so here's stuff that I found. So this is I was looking up different things, and it's King Arthur. He's the king of the knights, and they have the Knights of the Round Table, who they're searching for the Holy Grail. That's the cup that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper before he was executed on the cross and before the crucifixion and stuff, right? So, and see, Michael Jackson was Jehovah's Witness, raised that way, and Jehovah's Witnesses are Christians, so Michael Jackson would enjoy this, and then they made movies and stuff. The one I'm going to show you a thing over here, it came out in 1963, the movie I'm going to show you the little clip from, which 1963, that's the years the Jacksons formed the band, the Jackson 5. Actually in 1963 also, like Smokey Robinson became vice president of Motown, and Diana Ross became the head of the Supremes. Like I'm pretty sure those things were happening right around 63, which is funny because this movie, but the reason I'm mentioning is that because these are the kind of things that are like symbolic things that Michael would have been aware of. And like when the movie, it's like, oh, it came out in 63. And so anyways, let's go ahead and I'm going to read you really quick this top part here. It says the plot. It says the story is set in fictional England, somewhat. I have to look close. Let me see. My eyes are not so good. So let me get focus more. Okay. The story is set in a fictional England, somewhat resembling that of 15th century, when King Uther Pendragon dies, leaving no heir. A sword magically appears in an anvil itself embedded in a stone. Okay, so this is also the Sword and the Stone story, the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur and the Sword and the Stone. This is all the same stories and stuff, and so that's what I was like, wow, they're all involved in this story. This is a big one. And then it says, with an inscription proclaiming that whoever removes the sword is the rightful king of England, the king. Okay. None succeeded in removing the sword, which eventually becomes forgotten, leaving England in a situation akin to the War of the Roses. An 11-year-old orphan named Arthur. So now here's the whole thing about what I've been saying is that Diana informs Michael when he's like 10, 11 years old, when he's living in her house, that Diana informs Michael that he's the one, right? So then Michael, I said, now he's technically an abandoned child, but I think that Michael very much, it feels akin to orphan children, because there's a common thing of orphan children. Like Peter Pan is the leader of the Lost Boys, who are a bunch of orphan children. And Michael Jackson's like Neverland Ranch, in the Say video, which is on the property that's going to be the Neverland Ranch soon, it's an orphanage there. That's what he's at there, and he goes to this lady's orphanage. It says orphanage. It says orphanage, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. But anyways, I won't get on. But Michael definitely has this thing about orphan children and stuff, right? So here again in this, when I'm looking for the understanding of the circle and round, what do I come upon? That it all starts really with an 11-year-old orphan named Arthur, who becomes King Arthur. And then so that's how he's the one, because he pulls the sword from the stone. He's the one. Okay, just like this, the theme of like the Billie Jean, you're getting this common theme that's taking place here, right? So an 11-year-old orphan named Arthur, who is given the nickname Wart, accidentally scares off a deer his older foster brother Sir Kay was hunting. So both foster children, him and his brother, they're foster kids. So that's, see what I'm saying? This common thing with like the Peter Pan stuff and the orphans and foster children, stuff like that. There's a common thing in this. Sir Kay was foster brother. Sir Kay was hunting, causing Kay to launch his arrow into the forest. While attempting to retrieve the arrow, Arthur meets Merlin, an elderly wizard. So Merlin the wizard, you know, is Merlin the magician, Merlin the wizard. So Merlin's in this story too, to show like how Michael could start having that fondness for like magic and stuff, right? It shows like in this story you can see this similarity to like Michael Jackson, who he actually was, and you can see how this story is like a very similar to like all the things about who he was. He meets Arthur, an elderly wizard who lives with his talking pet. Now from there, what I'm going to show you is, so then it says here, on New Year's Day, a tournament in London will be crowned king. So they're gonna do a contest in London, because nobody could pull the sword out of the stone. And then so the London said, well, we're just gonna have a contest to decide who's the king, right? And then so on that day, when they're having the contest, this is a Disney movie called The Sword and the Stone, King Arthur, and this is the one that came out in 1963, and it's made by Disney. Okay, so we know how fond Michael is of Disney, and so Disney made this movie. It's kind of like, and they made it in 63, there's a good chance Michael could have seen this movie. One of those things, or at some point, you know, and when you go to Disneyland, like I've been to Disneyland, and there's over by this one area, they have a sword and a stone. They have a big rock, whatever, with the anvil thing and a sword, and then you could pull on it to try and pull it out, you know. So like one thing, when you go to Disneyland, they actually have a sword and a stone there that, you know, it's one of the things for tourists and stuff that you could try and pull it out. So here, I'm going to play this for you. So this is the part where he's pulled the sword out of the stone because he had lost his brother Kay's sword or whatever. He forgot it. So he saw the sword in the stone. He didn't know what it was. And then he just pulled the sword out and he brought it to the contest. And he's like, okay, here's the sword, right? So this is the part in the movie where that happens. Let me show you this.
You're up next, son. You better get ready.
Kay, here's a sword.
This is not my sword. Hold on, Kay. Wait a minute. Whoso pulleth out this sword? Oh, it's the sword in the stone. The sword in the stone? It can't be. But look, it is. It's the marvelous sword. Hold everything! Someone's pulled the sword from the stone. Where did you get it, What?
I pulled it out of an anvil that was on a stone in a churchyard.
Lad's a young Samson! You're making a fool of us, boy. Now tell the truth.
But I did, sir.
Then come on, prove it. Out to the stone with you. Yes, prove it! Come on, prove it! All right, boy. Let's have the miracle. Now, wait a minute. Anyone can pull it once it's been pulled. You go to it, Kay. Give it all you got. Put your hand in. That's not fair.
I say we let the boy try it.
That's what I say. Give the boy a chance.
Go ahead, son.
It's a miracle, ordained by heaven. This boy is our king. Well, by Jove. What's the lad's name? What? Oh, I mean Arthur. Hail, King Arthur! Hail, King Arthur! Long live the king!
I can't believe it.
Oh, forgive me, son. Forgive me.
Oh, please don't, sir.
Kay, bow down to your king.
Okay, so that's the King Arthur, the Sword in the Stone. And then this is it says here the real King Arthur's Round Table. Okay, I'm going to play this for you a little bit.
Or more specifically, it's for the King Arthur 10-pence coin. This is King Arthur's Round Table.
See the King Arthur, so we danced on the floor in the round. Who will dance on the floor in the round? This is, see, the floor in the round. Who's going to dance on the floor? The king. King Arthur, who happens to be, it's the Sword in the Stone story. And the King Arthur was, when he pulls the sword out of the stone, and so he's the one, right? Same similarity to like the Billie Jean, I'm the one. He's feeling this similarity thing. And that's where he throws in, when she says, I'm the one, and like he's the love child of Diana and Smokey, that he's the one, and Michael's feeling this connection. So when he puts on there, who will dance on the floor in the round, he's saying that he's like the King Arthur, because he's the king. And this, and this is like what the king is. King Arthur, who was an 11-year-old orphan who pulled the sword from the stone because he was destined to be the one. And that's the circle, the knight, and then he's part of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So that's the circle of the round. That's the circle in the round that he's going to dance on. That's what they're going to dance in, that circle in the round.
Well, kind of. You see, King Arthur may or may not have existed, but most of the legend surrounding him is just that, a legend, a fictitious story that has been continuously added to as it's been retold throughout the...
What I was going to show you here is like, right here is that's the Holy Grail, and here's Merlin, and here's the Knights of the Round Table, and here's the Sword in the Stone. So that's what I'm saying, it's like all of these things are in this King Arthur story, right? So who will dance on the floor in the round? That's what he's saying. So that's what I'm trying to say with this part of the Billie Jean. So she said, I'm the one, okay? Who will dance on the floor in the round? He's the one, like King Arthur. He's the one that destined to pull the sword from the stone, and then he's gonna dance on the floor in the round. That's because that's what Michael is, the king of what he is. He's the king of pop, right? So the king of pop, he's not a warrior with a sword and stuff. He's his battle, like which I say with the song "Beat It." That's what the song "Beat It" is about. Is he's going to show him how funky strong is his fight. Okay, so that's Michael. Michael's being the king of pop. He's showing how funky strong is his fight, and what's he going to do? He's going to dance on the floor in the round, like King Arthur with the Knights of the Round Table. This is what it's talking about. So it's like I said, it's hard for me to clarify that. And we're talking about just like this couple little lines right there. You know, she said, "I'm the one who will dance on the floor in the round." So just to explain like what that line, "who will dance on the floor in the round," it's like, look at how complicated that is and how you have to understand of the inspiration of what Michael's drawing from. But when you see that he's talking, it's the Knights of the Round Table. And King Arthur is the head of the Knights of the Round Table, the knights who search for the Holy Grail. That's the cup that Jesus drank from before he's crucified. You know, this is the stuff about Michael Jackson. Is like what I keep trying to say to people is that Michael Jackson's an artist. He's smart. He's got all this knowledge of where he draws inspiration from, and he's able to craft this. This is like I keep saying about Billie Jean. It's like this is a master artist at the top of his craft, and this is what you're seeing here. And like he does it with the writing of the song, he sings it, and then he does the dance on the Motown 25. You know, and it's just like it's phenomenal. Right? But that's what this is. And it's like, when you get the understanding, like what I'm saying is like, okay, the King Arthur, see, I didn't know King Arthur was an 11-year-old orphan. I looked it up, and then sure enough, this is what happens with the story. And he's destined. I didn't know King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I didn't know that was related to the Sword and the Stone. I've known that those are stories that are out there, but I don't know all that stuff. But as soon as I looked it up, what do I find out? That he's like the one, the destined to be the king. You know, and he was an 11-year-old orphan when he finds out he's the one. Just like it's like, can't you see the relation toward Michael Jackson and him finding out when Diana's telling him that he's the one when he's living in her house after the Jacksons moved to LA and they're living with Diana Ross? Can you see the similarities? And you can see where Michael would be drawing from these inspirations of his life, because this is the stuff of what he was interested in. And it's got these common things, this orphan theme that takes place with Michael Jackson. There's this common thing about the orphans and stuff. And here it is again, directly. And he's going to dance on the floor. That's because, like I said, he's going to show him how funky strong is his fight. He's not a knight with a sword. He's the king of pop. And the way he fights his battles is with his, and that's why I say the song "Beat It" is about. The way he's going to fight his battles is with his music and his art and his singing and his dancing. And that's what he did, you know? So I just wanted to put this out there, give you guys a little bit more information about this. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.